Okay guys, here's the scoop for today. Something serious went down involving the Nigerian military, and it's all over the news. So, if you haven't heard yet, let me break it down for you. On December 8th, 2025, a Nigerian Air Force C130 cargo plane was forced to make an emergency landing in Bobo-Dioulasso, Burkina Faso. The problem? The aircraft had crossed into Burkinabe airspace without permission. And it wasn't just the plane that got grounded, but also the crew and passengers on board. 11 Nigerian military officers were detained by the Burkinabe authorities, including 2 crew members and 9 other passengers. Now, you might be thinking, was this just an innocent mistake? Well, it turns out that according to the statement from the Alliance of Sahel States, AES, a military alliance between Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, this plane was in violation of their airspace. They were very clear about condemning the incursion, saying that this wasn't just a small error. They've launched a full investigation to figure out exactly what happened and why the aircraft was flying in their airspace without proper authorization. For those of you who don't know, this whole situation is quite tense because of the political climate in the region. Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger had previously withdrawn from the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, which is a big regional bloc that helps with security and economic cooperation. This move left the countries in a kind of diplomatic isolation. And now, with these tensions rising, an incident like this doesn't help at all. When countries are already on edge, especially in regions like the Sahel where instability from groups like terrorists and extremists is common, a simple mistake can blow up into something much bigger. This isn't just about one plane or a handful of people being detained. This is about regional security and trust between countries that are already fragile. The AES is on high alert now, and they've said that any other aircraft violating their airspace will be neutralized, so they're serious. If you think about it, the people on the ground, including the military officers who were detained, could face some very serious consequences depending on how things play out. And now, Nigeria is in a tricky situation. The Nigerian Air Force, like most militaries, operates under pressure. It's not easy managing airspace and conducting operations, especially in such a high-stakes environment. But this particular incident makes it clear that there might be a gap in the communication or coordination between these countries' military operations. A lack of proper clearance can lead to serious diplomatic fallout, and that's exactly what we're seeing now. For Nigeria, this is a big test. The country has always been seen as a leader in West Africa, especially when it comes to security and military matters. But this issue with Burkina Faso is raising questions about the military's operations, the effectiveness of their cross-border communication, and their approach to managing security in a region that's become more unstable over the years. Nigeria needs to act fast. There's no room for delay here, especially when you're dealing with not just your military personnel, but with the potential for wider diplomatic issues. One thing I can tell you is that when it comes to international relations, especially in West Africa, it's all about balancing power, diplomacy, and respect for each other's sovereignty. If Nigeria doesn't handle this carefully, it could be a real setback for regional cooperation. But here's the kicker. This incident also raises bigger questions about the relationship between Nigeria and the countries of the Sahel. While things were already tense between these nations after the AES pulled out of ECOWAS, this makes it even worse. Nigeria is now in a position where it might have to renegotiate its role and how it engages with these countries. It could force Nigeria to rethink its approach to military operations in that part of the world, and more importantly, to how it works with neighboring states in preventing future misunderstandings or accidents like this one. So far, there has been no official word from the Nigerian government about the investigation or the detained military personnel, but the clock is ticking. Everyone is watching to see how Nigeria responds to this. Will they diplomatically push for the release of their military officers, or will this spark a bigger standoff between the two countries? As I see it, Nigeria has to show that they can handle this with both military strength and diplomatic skill. Now, let's be real here. We all know how tense things can get when it comes to border security. This incident might seem like a small thing, but in the context of regional politics, it's a huge deal. Countries in West Africa already have enough problems with security, from terrorism to insurgencies, and the last thing anyone wants is more conflict. The fact that Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger have their own military governments makes things even more sensitive. When you mix in the potential for misunderstandings like this, things can escalate quickly. The AES is clearly not taking this lightly, and with good reason their airspace was violated, and that's a serious matter. But let's also talk about the bigger picture here. What does this say about the stability of the region? Well, to be honest, it shows how fragile things are. With the collapse of strong regional bodies like ECOWAS and the growing instability in the Sahel, the security situation is precarious. A lot of people are talking about how the absence of ECOWAS and the shift in alliances will change the way military forces operate in this region. There's no telling what's next. But it's clear that countries like Nigeria, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger will have to work even harder to ensure peace. So, what should Nigeria do next? First off, they need to make sure their military operations are in order. That means tightening up communication with neighboring countries, ensuring air clearance protocols are followed, and making sure that nothing like this happens again. The Nigerian government needs to speak clearly to the public about what happened and what steps they're taking to resolve the situation. Transparency is key here. But also, Nigeria has a chance here to show leadership. This is the perfect moment to step up and show the world that they are ready to lead, even in difficult times. By negotiating calmly, acting swiftly, and showing respect for regional sovereignty, Nigeria can repair any damage done and set a strong example of how nations can work together even in the toughest of situations. At the end of the day, this incident might just be a wake-up call. It's a reminder that no matter how big or strong you are, missteps can happen, and it's how you respond that makes all the difference. Whether this is a simple mistake or something more deliberate, what matters now is how Nigeria navigates this challenge. We'll all be watching closely. So, what do you think, guys? Was this an accident, or was there something more to it? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let me know how you think Nigeria should handle this situation moving forward. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates on this story. This is one that will definitely keep us all on our toes. I'll keep you posted as we get more info. Stay tuned, and I'll catch you in the next one.